time I'm going to choose 3, 4, 5, 6, 0, and instead I'm going to divide by 2, 4, 5, 9 instead of 2, 4, 5, 7. So this time it doesn't cancel. This time I'm just going to go away and do it. Now, if you remember from my previous video, what I said was write down the multiplication table of 2459, which is perhaps the best way of doing it. I don't know my tables of 2459, so I'm going to start by doing this, but it's going to take me an awful long time, a lot of adding up to do that. So what I need to do is decide how many of these go into this and how many of my times tables I'm going to have to bother to write down. Let's have a look. 2459, how many of those go into 3? Well, they don't go into 3, they don't go into 34, they don't go to 345, so I'm going to see how many of them go into 3456. That's what I'm after. Okay. Clearly one will go in. Let's go through the second times table of 2459 to see if 2 goes in. Let's double these numbers. Hope I've got that right, but that's 2459 multiplied by 1, and that's 2459 multiplied by 2. It's clearly too big for 3456. So how many of those go into that? 1 and some remainder. Now the normal situation now is to work out a remainder. You could do this in your head and put the remainder here. But clearly there's not a lot of room to put a remainder there. So what traditionally people do is put the number that they've divided into underneath to work out the remainder. Now it's only 1 going to 3456, so I'm only going to put 1, 2, 4, 5, 9 underneath. I'm going to have to work it out. Let's start doing some subtraction. 16 take away 9 is 7. That gives me 4, so 4 take away 5 can't do. Let's do a little working out there. That gives me 9 again, and then 9, and I've got 997. So how many 2459 go into 3456? 1, remainder 997. But rather than squeeze 997 up here, again something that people do slightly differently from the way I explained it, is instead of squashing 997 up there, is to bring the 0 down and pop it there, because after all 997 with 0 on the end is this number. So how many 2459s go into 9970? I've started writing the times table down here, so let's see if I can make it up to this. Let's add on another 2459. 17, 6 plus 1 more to carry, 7, 3, 1. So 3 lots of 2459 is 7377. I add on another one. Okay, 9 and 7 is 16, 5 and 7 is 12 plus 1 is 13, 4 and 3 is 7 plus 1 is 8, and 2 and 7 is 9. I suppose I could check this by just saying, well, this is the first multiple, this is the second multiple, this is the third, this is the fourth multiple. Okay, what I've been doing is adding on 2459 every single time. I could just double check that this is the right answer by doubling the 2 times 2459 and getting 4 times 2459. And if I double this number, okay, I can see that I get 18 double is 36, 49 double is 98, so I'm probably right. This is the place where you're probably going to make the most mistakes, so be very careful. Okay, how many 2459s go into 9970? Well, 2,000, 4,000, 7,000, 9,000. If I go beyond that, it's going to go far too big. It's clearly going to be 4. So 4 go into 9970. Alright, but I need to work out my remainder. And again, rather than trying to work it out to the side, the traditional way is to pop this number underneath, 9836, and to do a subtraction. Here we go. So 10 take away 6 is 4, 6 take away 3 is 3, 9 take away 8 is 1. 9 take away 9 is 0. So I've got a remainder of 134. Now at this point I've got to make a decision. Am I going to put a decimal point here, a decimal point here, and carry on dividing? I'm going to have an awful long division to do for a long time. In fact, it probably will never stop. If I was asked to do this question to, let's say, 2 decimal places, then if I worked it out to 3 decimal places, I could then round my number off to 2 decimal places. I've got no great desire to carry on with this number, and whatever number I get, I'm probably going to have to round off anyway. So I've got 3 choices. I could write 14, remainder 134. I could carry on dividing into the decimals and put my decimal points, or I could leave my remainder as a fraction out of 2459. So actually, technically, the answer to 34560 divided by 2459 is 14 times and 134 2459ths, if you want to be precise. You could have carried on with the decimals. It's harder than anybody would be expected to do at GCSE level, and that's really what I'm aiming at. So the reply to the requests and my complaints about my long division method is, at GCSE level, this method works. You wouldn't be expected to do such difficult numbers. You can put the numbers underneath and work out the remainder if you wish, and instead of putting the remainder up here, you can drop the number down if you wish and set it out in a traditional way. There's lots of methods that you can find on the YouTube that will show you this method. The previous one that I've shown you will work for GCSE level, and I find it's a simpler one to understand. If you really wanted to have a go at these more difficult questions, then you can, but to be perfectly honest, I'd use a calculator.